think that's one of the things that's probably a bit scary for people who are like, I really want to go with my intuition, but the coaching industry is telling me that I have to do this and I have to do that. But absolutely, I think when you're soul-led, you have to do what feels right for you. So absolutely listen to other people and hear what they're saying that's worked for them. But you need to find the balance. So if somebody's telling you, you should be on Facebook and you should be going live and you need to post this many times a day, if that doesn't feel right for you, then it's not aligned with you and who you are and the life you want to live, then maybe you decide, actually, I'm not going to do it that way. You know, I feel intuitively that I can grow my business in another way. And you find what works for you. So it might be that you prefer to do a podcast. So I think it's definitely about deciding what feels right for you and your business and your ideal client.
Hello, my loves, and welcome back to Create Your Life. I am your host, Simone Leah. So I just wanted to let you guys know that today's interview is actually an interview that I recorded about a year ago when I ran an online event called the Soul-Led Entrepreneurs Summit. It was a really, really, really wonderful event. I had some beautiful, amazing speakers talking about things like connecting with your intuition and how you can use that in your business. How to do Facebook advertising, how to do marketing as a soul-led entrepreneur, all of these cool things to do with business, entrepreneurship, and actually also spirituality and connecting within. And so these interviews were so wonderful that I really wanted to be able to share them with you now. So if when you're watching this, you see or hear the word soul-led entrepreneurs, this is still the Create Your Life show, but these interviews were just too good for me to keep to myself any longer. So I really, really, really hope you guys enjoy this interview, and I can't wait to connect with you again soon. Hello, and welcome back to Soul-Led Entrepreneurs. My name is Simone, and I will be your host. Today, I had the absolute pleasure of interviewing Jade Anne of Jade Anne Coaching about soul-led marketing. This was an absolutely amazing conversation. Jade knows her stuff. She is all over actual marketing as you would normally consider it. And to throw in how to actually follow your soul and create a marketing plan and a marketing strategy for you, for who you are and where you're at, like this conversation was just, there is so much value in here, and that's value for whether you're starting off from zero or you already know about marketing. There's so much value for anyone who wants to align more with soul-led marketing in their business. So it was utterly amazing. Hey guys, and welcome back to Soul-Led Entrepreneurs. I'm here with Jade Anne of Jade Anne Coaching. Thank you for being here, Jade. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you on. Today, we're actually going to be talking about soul-led marketing, and Jade is just the perfect person for this conversation. Go and check out her socials because they're just so nicely and well put together that she's obviously the perfect person to talk to about this. So, but let's just jump into one of the first questions. What does being a soul-aligned entrepreneur actually mean to you?
God, I love that word. I got a bit of a tingle when you said it then. So for me, it's all about working in a way that feels aligned to you, and a way that means you're working with the people who you absolutely love to work with. So I feel like a lot of people, when you get into business, it's a little bit scary and you're like, I should be doing what everybody's telling me to do. But actually, if you're soul aligned, you absolutely trust your intuition. You know, these are the people that I want to work with. This is the way I want to help them. This is how we're going to work together. And then everywhere online, in your socials, on your website, everything you do encompasses that as well. And then you attract those people, like those clients that absolutely make your heart sing. That's when you're like, yes, I've got it. I've nailed it. Like, I've just been myself and I've attracted those people. And that's what it's all about. I think being that soul-led entrepreneur is all about just being you, absolutely trusting your intuition and going with it and serving. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. I love that. I totally love that. So with the space of marketing, there's so much like you need to be on this, you need to be on that, you need to do this. Can you apply being soul-led to marketing even?
I think that's one of the things that's probably a bit scary for people who are like, I really want to go with my intuition, but the coaching industry is telling me that I have to do this and I have to do that. But absolutely, I think when you're soul-led, you have to do what feels right for you. So absolutely listen to other people and hear what they're saying that's worked for them. But you need to find the balance. So if somebody's telling you, you should be on Facebook and you should be going live and you need to post this many times a day, if that doesn't feel right for you, then it's not aligned with you and who you are and the life you want to live, then maybe you decide, actually, I'm not going to do it that way. You know, I feel intuitively that I can grow my business in another way. And you find what works for you. So it might be that you prefer to do a podcast, because actually a podcast means that you're allowed to be in your space. You're not being in the buzz of social media where it's really busy and you're seeing negativity and things you don't want to see. But equally, those people who are aligned with you, who want to listen to your podcast, are going to tune in and listen to your message. And ultimately, you can nurture them that way with the marketing to turn them into clients to buy your products and your services. So I think it's definitely about deciding what feels right for you and your business and your ideal client, because a lot of soul-led entrepreneurs work with those soul aligned clients as well, those intuitive clients, those people who don't want to be in those places where traditionally coaches tell us you have to market yourself in these places at all times to do these things. So it's actually about reaching out and finding out, where is your ideal client hiding? Where are they like looking for your services? Because it might not be in the places where the traditional coaches are telling you should be marketing yourself.
Yeah. Well, like I've been online for a very long time and everyone's always like, get on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn.
Oh,
And I'm just like, I'm so not
no.
interested in LinkedIn.
No.
But do you think that things like LinkedIn or Twitter or things like that they're not so popular now to everyone? Do you think that if you feel called to do that platform can still work for you?
Yeah, massively. So I know I'm exactly like you. When you say LinkedIn, it sends a shudder down my spine. Like, I don't want to be on there. But that's not to say that if you're so aligned, you can't be on there, because it may be that you work with a particular type of client or you sell a particular type of service that your ideal client are on there. And if they are on there, maybe they are soul aligned clients for you, but they're still in the corporate world. And maybe you're providing them a solution, and therefore you do use LinkedIn, but you use it in a way that feels right for you. So you're not changing who you are. You're still showing up as you, but you're just doing it in a way that fits with the platform, fits with the ideal client, and feels good to you. Same with Twitter. Like, Twitter is such a quick platform. You have to really be one of those people that's going to go 100% in. And a lot of the entrepreneurs I work with are like, yeah, but I want to spend my time with my clients. I want to give my energy to them rather than to be scrolling through a feed all the time. In that case, Twitter's not probably going to be the place for you. But that said, if you're someone who feels like, yeah, do you know what? I really love that side of it and it can work for me in my business, then go ahead and do it. I mean, Clubhouse is a great example of that. So it came out not that long ago and everyone was like, I need to be on Clubhouse. And I know a lot of my clients who are like, I don't want to be on Clubhouse. And I was like, that's okay. Don't be on there. I'm not on there. You know, it hasn't had a detrimental impact on my business. You have to go where you feel drawn. And I guess we are intuitively drawn in lots of areas of our business and lots of areas in our life. And maybe we sometimes trust it more in life than we do in our actual business, because we're like, yeah, but is that really going to work? I don't feel like there's as many role models maybe out there for us in the online world that have made it really successful, that shout about them being intuitively led to how they market themselves. So yeah, we need more of it. So if you guys are out there and you're like listening, you need to like be showing up in a way that feels right for you, because we all need to share that energy together and rise together.
Yeah, I think that's amazing, definitely. And what about if you're someone who's like, all right, I know I need to be on Facebook and Instagram. I know I need to be on that. Do they need to be showing up all the time in every place? Or can they be someone who's like, I want to show up on like Facebook and Instagram, but I only want to do 2-minute videos talking to my audience. I don't want to do any quotes. I don't want to do any like picture posts. I don't want any of that. I just want to show up for 2 minutes and talk to my audience every 5 days. You know, can you still make those bigger platforms like Instagram and Facebook work for you in a very like your way?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the biggest thing you've got to do if you decide I only want to be on social media once a week, for example, is you have to have a strategy behind it. So as long as you say it feels right for me to connect with my audience, for example, not at the weekends because that's their time. Purely on a Monday, I'm going to do a motivational video, and every Monday I'm going to show up and I'm going to give them a 5-minute video around a different aspect of motivation to set them off for the week. If you feel like that's what you want to do and you're consistent with it, 100% you can use the platform in just that way, because you are building the like, no trust. That's why we use social platforms, essentially, to help people to see our business and to build a connection with us. So they go, I like this person's going to solve my problem and they're going to give me the product or service that I want to purchase from them. And if you're consistent with your live every single Monday, you're giving them value, they feel connected to you as a person, there's no reason why you need to be posting every day. Like, social media moves so quickly. You probably see a lot of people posting and there's not many likes and there's not many comments on it. And that doesn't mean it's not being seen, but ultimately, as long as you're creating content that your audience are going to resonate with, I personally don't think it matters if you're posting 4 times a day or once a week, as long as you're attracting that right client and you are talking to them in a way that resonates with them, 100%.
Yeah. I love that. And I also love that you talk about having a strategy. So, like, say someone wanted to just post 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. What would be a kind of strategy for that? How would they put something together like that?
Okay, so definitely the first thing I'd say is kind of think about your ideal client, think about who this person is that you're trying to attract. And if, like many entrepreneurs who are soul-led, you probably are attracting those people who don't want to be on social media all the time. So when they are on there, what is it that they want to see? Is it that they want to see a link to a podcast so they can just tune in and have a listen while they're walking their children to school? Is it that they want to sit down in the evening and have a read of a blog post, so you're sharing a blog post on your social media? So it's about finding what works for you, but being consistent with it. So if you say, every Monday I'm going to do a live on a motivational topic for the week. Every Wednesday I'm going to put out a link to a blog that I've got on my website that really gives value, that talks to them about a pain point they've got. And then maybe on the Friday you say, I'm going to share a podcast episode they can listen to finish the week off, and it's going to give them some value, but I'm also going to give them some of my personality. I'm going to help them to resonate with me as a person. And if you start to focus on anything that builds connection by sharing your personality, anything that builds the like, no trust, so they get to know you as the expert, they see you're giving value, and just make sure the pieces of content in your strategy have a clear call to action, so they have something to do afterwards, whether that's visit your website or book a call in or buy a product, then it doesn't have to be complicated. That strategy can be as simple as that. Literally, if you're like, how does this look, Jade? Get a piece of paper that you can even print off one of those calendar month ones, and then just write down, on the Monday, I'm going to talk about this in my live. And then every Monday, just write down a different topic. And then on the Wednesday, okay, I'm going to put a blog post out. These are the blog post topics I'm going to talk about. And then on the Friday, these are the podcast episodes that I'm going to share with people. And just by doing something as simple as that, all of a sudden, all of that worry and stress about creating strategy and doing marketing becomes, actually, I can sit and meditate and feel like these are the right things to talk about, or I can see the feedback that my clients have given me from the last couple of weeks posting. So it really helps you to kind of tune in with them, because I feel like I do that a lot. I do hand on heart, close my eyes, and I feel like, what is the right thing for me to be posting? What is the thing right now that I guess the universe is telling me that I need to be putting out there for those clients to come to me? And you guys can absolutely do the same.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, a few things on that. First thing, would you say a call to action needs to go in every single post?
I think you should try, and if you're specifically, if you're not doing as much, always have a call to action. It doesn't have to always be a monetary one. It could be don't forget to tell me in the comment what you're struggling with right now. Or it could be, don't forget to send me hearts across the screen if you agree with what I'm saying as you're going through your live. But giving people a call to action in every post not only helps you to obviously increase your likelihood of converting them, but it also builds that connection, because it's like, she's asked me to send her hearts across the screen because she knows that I'm watching, and she's going to respond to that by saying, oh, thanks so-and-so for sending me the hearts across the screen, and it's building a connection. Or if they've commented underneath, you're then going to respond to that so they feel seen, again building that connection, building that like and trust. So don't think that call to action is just buy my product, but actually it could be, let me know what you think of the blog post that you've just read. Tell me what you'd like me to talk about on next week's podcast episode. So there's different call to actions, and it essentially just means engage with your audience, give them the okay to communicate back with you. So rather than just talking to people, you're starting to build a conversation between you, connection, and then ultimately sell.
Yeah, I literally love that, because so many people, they kind of get that, like, I can't sell in any posts. Like, I just want to attract them in. I can't sell to them. I can't sell to them. But what you're actually doing is not selling to them.
Yeah.
You're just giving them an opportunity to engage with you, really. You're just saying, if you're interested in this, go watch this video or listen to this podcast. If you're interested in this, or if you enjoyed this, give me some love hearts. Like, it's a lot subtler than I think what people realize.
Yeah. And something that I had a coach who was helping me to sell, because I did in the beginning have a big block about selling. As much as I loved marketing myself, I was like, I don't want to take people's money. It doesn't feel quite right. And she was like, but you're giving them a transformation. You're helping them to change. You're solving their problem. So even as a product-based business, you might be selling some amazing eco-friendly soaps, but actually they're solving a problem because they're helping people to reduce their impact on the environment, and you're helping people to live a better, sustainable life, and that's solving a problem. So every time you sell, don't see it as like necessarily I'm selling something to you, I'm providing a solution. And when you flip it on its head like that, even if you're giving them content, free content, you're providing them a solution to their problem. If you're selling something, you're providing them a solution to their problem. So you are helping. And as I think, as a soul-led entrepreneur, that makes a big difference, knowing that you're making an impact and you're helping someone.
Yeah, and that you're just helping, like you said, just literally helping them to grow or expand if they want it. Like, they don't have to do anything in the call to action, but if they want to, they can. And also, I feel like you are giving them that opportunity to feel seen and heard and part of your community, which is just, it's really nice, because I feel like a lot of the time these days, people don't necessarily feel seen and heard. So if you can kind of show them, look, I'm a real person, I'm here. If you enjoyed this, let me know. Like, I think that's really nice.
Yeah, it's really interesting, because when I started out with the marketing, I'd had a big corporate background, but someone turned around to me who was another coach and said, yeah, but people aren't going to buy marketing from you because, you haven't got a big enough following. And I was kind of like, well, I don't think that's right. And I have sold, and I've sold courses and made a lot of money from those courses, but because I've got connection. So although my audience isn't the biggest, my audience feel heard, my audience connect with me. They know that I listen to what they say and create content that's going to help them. And I think that's the difference, is don't be put off by selling, thinking, maybe my following's not big enough for me to sell. Actually, if you're building a connection with people, that is what sells. People trust you, and you listen to them, and you're doing it with integrity, and you're doing it with their best interests at heart. Absolutely, people will buy from you.
I'd love to actually also touch on time, because when we're saying about like engaging with the audience and them knowing you're there, can you have in your strategy that you spend a certain amount of time on social media per day and that's it? So say, for example, you in the start, you don't have that big of a following. So you're totally fine with 20 minutes a day to engage with people and reply to comments and stuff like that. But then as you grow, you're finding that it's taking 45 minutes a day and you're like, oh, I really want to be going outside and doing my life. Is there any way that you can kind of still have people feel like and know that you're there for them and then connecting with them, but not necessarily you be stuck to your phone?
Yeah, and I think that's a massive thing. I think you have to set the boundaries and remember that if you're working with people who are like you, who are intuitive, who don't want to be on social media all the time, they're not necessarily expecting a reply straight away. So for me, I've actually got a Google planner, a Google Calendar, and I've mapped in there set times when I'm on social media. So I know that before the end of the day, before I switch the computer off, I'll check into my social media. I know that first thing in the morning, I'll check into my social media, and I'll usually do it around lunchtime. And that means that I'm breaking it up throughout the day. So I'm not having to sit there and be like, oh, it's 11 o'clock, somebody's messaged me, 12 o'clock, somebody's messaged me, because then you're going to get nothing else done. And ultimately, I'd much prefer to spend time with my clients than to spend time on social media. So I think it's important for you to kind of set your boundaries and decide, do I want to be working at the weekend? Do I want to be working in the evening? Because every time you're on social media, that's what you're doing. So yeah, you have to kind of decide. And I did a course this weekend, and I don't usually work at the weekends, but I really wanted to do this course. We ended up doing it, and then I just voice noted the person afterwards, because I had a 3-week period when you can contact them and ask them stuff, and I just in the moment sent them a voice message, and then they replied to me on the Monday and was like, sorry, I don't reply over the weekend. I was like, no, I didn't expect you to reply at the weekend, but it was in my head at the time, so I sent it to you. She was like, that's fine. But that's her with her boundaries, and that's really good, and I loved that. I was like, I would never slate anyone who hasn't come back to me instantly because of that. Like, assert your boundaries, and it trains your audience. They know to kind of expect, yeah, Jade will reply to me later on today. They're not expecting Jade to instantly be back, hi, yeah, responding to you now, because that's not good. You know, you don't want to burn yourself out by spending so long on social media. Don't let it affect your energy too much.
Yeah, I literally love that. And I'm exactly the same. I never expect people to actually, I'm in Australia. So it's really interesting because a lot of people I talk to are not in Australia, but I literally never expect anyone to respond outside of 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So when they do, I'm always like super pumped. But now I realize that other people, their 9 to 5 is a different actual time zone to my 9 to 5. So even that's going to play a role in your audience as well, you know? So I guess you can essentially have people messaging you 24/7, 7 days a week. So if you don't have those boundaries in place, you literally could just end up on your phone the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know about your listeners, but I've got a family, and my children do not want me on the phone 24/7. So yeah, it's really important that you kind of assert those boundaries, and your audience will respect you for that. You know, and if they didn't, they wouldn't be your ideal client. They wouldn't be the sort of person you want to work with, because they're probably more hassle than they're worth.
Yeah, this is true, which is great. Yeah. And on that point of family as well, how much, like, do you feel like it's important to be sharing parts of your life outside of your business as part of your business, if that makes sense, like on your social media? And
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, because I am very open with my audience. I share more in my Facebook group, because that's my close community. So they do know what my children look like, and they're like, my children were ill last week, so they're like, are they okay now? So that's really nice, because it builds on that connection, and they feel like they know me and they know my family, and that's nice. But I know some people are the opposite, and they're like, I completely want to keep it away from social media, and that's fine too. I personally think it has to be what you feel comfortable with. So if you don't want to cross those boundaries, and you're like, my personal life, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. In fact, you don't even need to have your face as your brand. You know, depending on what you do, you could have a business that runs in a way that's still very soul aligned with your values and all of that, but without your face at the front, if that's how you want to run your business. But if you feel comfortable to share it, by all means do. Just do it in a safe way. You know, it's things like, I'm always very mindful of never having any photos of my kids in the school uniform or anything like that. Like, that for me would be a big no-no, because I don't want anyone to be able to identify them in that way. But yeah, it completely is down to you. And my children are becoming an age now. One of them's 9, and it's like, she's like, oh, Sometimes she's not in the mood. She's like, I don't want a photo with you. I'm like, that's fine. Like, let's not have one then. But then the other one, she's 5. She's like, take my photo. I'm like, okay, let's do that. That's fine too. So I feel like for me, it breaks down the fact that mum is working. It means that they can be involved a little bit. So they do tend to quite like that. So it doesn't mean, oh, you're always working, mummy. Actually, if I'm having a quick photo here, it's like, oh, do you want to be in the photo? It doesn't feel so bad.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's cute. So you're also kind of like integrating your business in a way into your family that it is like something that's not, mum's at work. And I actually think that's a really
Yeah.
lovely way to do it.
Yeah, well, with lockdown, obviously the kids were at home and I was like, I still need to work. So that was kind of like, that's the point where, yes, I had a home office, but I'm having to home educate the children at the same time. And it's a juggle. And what I ended up doing, my children are very headstrong and they're like, we don't want to do any schoolwork. And a lot of the schools over here in the UK weren't too forceful with that. They were like, that's okay, like, let them do what they've got to do. So one of my daughters, she actually signed up for a children's business course and she set up her own business. And I was like, I'd much rather that. But had she not seen me running my business, she never would have done that, But because she saw that, she was like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to be like mum. And I think that's part of kind of sharing our message, isn't it? Is sharing it not just with our audience, but actually the people around us as well. So, yeah.
I just think that's amazing. That is so cute that she set up her own business. I love that. And I hope it's going really, really well. Do you want to plug it?
Yeah, it's www.style4asmile.com. And it's all about personalized bottles, t-shirts, everything like that she's got basically. But yeah, she loves it.
That is so cute. I literally love that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I do also want to touch on with marketing, because obviously we've mentioned that you can go with whatever strategy works for you. And you've kind of said that you kind of have a bit of a plan. On Mondays, you can post this. On Wednesdays, you can post this. Do you actually pick that content on the day as a soul aligned entrepreneur, pick that content on the day and be like, yep, this is what needs to go? Or do you pre-plan that content knowing that whatever you pick has come from your soul?
Do you know what? That is such a good question, because everybody tells you have to have everything pre-planned and you've got to have it all mapped out. And there is a part of me that did that for a really long time. And then I think the more spiritual I became, I kind of was like, actually, I'm not sure how this feels. So I do a mixture of both. Yeah. Sometimes I'll have days where I'm like, actually, right now, I need to post this. Today, this has to be spoken about. Like, this is what I need to be talking about. And when I do that, I do find that's usually the content that resonates more with people, because it is really coming from my intuition and what I know and feel at that time. But I also know that particularly when I have a lot of clients on, that I don't always have the time necessarily to be focusing on social media. So I do try and do a bit of both. But I very much so, when I am mapping it out, I am thinking about my clients. I am trying to go with my inner guidance and what feels right in the moment. So I'd say it's really good to kind of do a combination of both. If you feel like in the moment, absolutely, right now I'm being called to talk about this, do it. Absolutely do it, because that's the content that's going to resonate the most.
Yeah, that's amazing. And yeah, like you can have those other posts done and in there that is still going to be relevant to the audience because you have planned them out beforehand. But it is going to take that pressure off a little bit too, isn't it? Of having to be like, I have to come up with content every single day of, a day that you've committed to, if you've already got some of it kind of planned out, which is amazing.
It doesn't mean that you've not thought about the content in advance in a way that's still aligned with your audience or with your values, so you've still tapped into what you believe they need to hear. It's just sometimes in the moment you're like, yes, this right now is the moment. I need to get this out now. I need to share this message.
No, I totally love that, because that's the same thing with me when I'm thinking about all of the marketing I'll be doing. I'm exactly the same. I'm like, yep, there's going to be some structure there, but there's definitely going to be some this needs to be heard moments. So I love that. And how do you feel about outsourcing the marketing part of a soul-led business? Like, would you think that it's okay to employ people to do graphics if they're under guidance, or edit videos, or what are your thoughts around things like, or even editing podcasts?
I don't know if you actually know this about me, but this is something I massively struggled with at first. I was like, how does anybody know what is in my head? How does anybody know what's in my heart and what I'm feeling and all of that? So I really struggled, and I did outsource some stuff and it didn't work. Absolutely. I was like, this is the wrong decision for me, because it didn't feel like me anymore. So as an entrepreneur, I came up with my own solution and I set up my own marketing agency, which is for soul-aligned entrepreneurs, purely intuitive people. And the whole point was that we would be able to connect and vibe and really understand each other, and for you to then feel like you can trust people who understand more about your business, understand more about you. And it's more of a communication process of you being able to, yes, there'll be ad hoc things that you put out, but at least the stuff that is being prepared for you is based on kind of conversations and things that really do fit with who you are. So I have designers now and copywriters and people who work with, but it's a business that kind of came about 7-8 months ago, and it came off of the back of that I was feeling like that. I had a client who said, do you know anyone who can do this? Because I don't feel like I've got all the time, but actually I don't feel anyone gets me. And I was like, do you know what? I need to do something about this, because I feel like there's a massive gap in the market. And that's that's kind of how I started running my extra sort of side business, really.
Yeah. Well, do you feel like on that people could outsource pretty much essentially anything? Like, can they outsource editing of a video and at the same time also their social media posts? Like, what can we outsource?
Yeah, so what I would say to you is, if you're thinking about outsourcing, outsource to things that aren't your zone of genius. So obviously your intuition, your inner guidance, all of the things you love, that's part of your messaging. Yes, you need to come up with it initially, but somebody else could tweak it. Someone else can post it to social media. Someone else can create the graphic to go with it. I think that can work. If you are creating blogs, for example, you could voice note the blog and then have someone else transcribe it for you, or use transcription software and they can tweak it and upload it for you. So anything in your business you can outsource. Any of the tech stuff, literally anything that you do right now that isn't in here, you can essentially outsource, but you need to find the right person to outsource it to. So it needs to be someone who understands you, understands your business, and ultimately is then good in their area of genius. And that's what I'd say is, because I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs make the mistake of trying to do everything in marketing and do everything themselves, because they're like, I'm starting out and I can't afford to employ someone else to do this or whatever. But if you're taking time away from seeing your clients, if you charge £100, for example, for a session for your client, and someone is charging you £20, for example, to do a job that would have taken you an hour, what's better for you to do? Is spend an hour with a client and make £100 and give £20 of that away. So yeah, you kind of have to weigh it up and decide where's your energy best spent. Because I'd say usually outsourcing those jobs that take you forever, best spent. Money best spent.
Especially like you said, if they're not your zone of genius that you don't love,
Yeah.
like
anything tech, and I'm like, no thanks, I'm out, someone else can do it.
Yeah, that's it. I totally agree. And on that note, actually, because for me personally, I've outsourced a lot. I feel like it's important to kind of know what I want from someone. So like, I don't love setting up websites, but I have done it a couple of times to be able to explain what I actually want. Do you think that before someone's going to outsource a job, whether that be to create a post or to edit a video, that they should have done that process at least probably 3 to 5 times beforehand so they can articulate it?
Yeah, I think it is difficult, because if you just come from the point of view, I've set up a business now, help me do this, you don't have an understanding of how it how it's kind of done, how long it's going to take them, what you want it to look like, what the actual processes are. You might be asking for something that actually is such a massive ask that it's going to take so much longer than you anticipated. So it's important that you do have a bit of an understanding, but it also means, especially in the online world, when we're not able to necessarily have those face-to-face connections, if you're outsourcing to someone, you're putting trust in them. And as much as we want to trust everyone and go, yeah, I know you're not going to rip me off, you're going to do a good job and everything, having a knowledge of how long it would take you to do something like that, you would hope it would take someone who is more knowledgeable, who's doing it day to day. They'd be quicker than you to do it. So it gives you an idea. If they're saying, actually, that's taken me 5 hours, and you're thinking, but it would have only taken me 1, yeah, then you can work out, actually, maybe this person isn't the right person for me to work with, you know.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And even also allowing for them to have their learning curve as well. And then once that learning curve's done, it's being like, all right, well, it took them 3 hours, now that they know it still takes me 1. Do I, it's that sort of following your soul once they know what they're doing as to whether they're the right person or not, which I think is amazing. I do also want to talk a little bit about repurposing also, now that we're talking about outsourcing content. So say, for example, I have a video piece of content like we're doing right now. Could I get that content created, but then also outsource turning that content into shorter pieces of content, like little like TikToks and reels and like little quote posts? And can I pretty much outsource all of that?
Yeah, I would say that is the best thing you can do. If you can create a long piece of content like we're doing now, you can then use that and you can send it to someone else who should be able to create you blog posts from it. They should be able to create your social media content from it. They should be able to create your images from it. They can create reels, TikToks, wherever you want to be. They should be able to create content from that, because essentially this piece of content right here is one piece of content that you've spent an hour on, for example. Once that hour's done, there is so much value in this. So you could be taking quotes from me. You could be taking 3 key points at the end of the whole thing. You could have it linked to, like we said, a blog post. You could turn it into an infographic with lots of icons to show people the key things they should be doing in their marketing. So that, I think, the difference between that I found when working with a VA and maybe like a marketer was that the VA was very much needed hand holding or saying, this is definitely what I want doing. Whereas a marketer was the person that was going, hold on a minute. Do you know you could do this with it and you could do that with it? And I feel like that's exactly what you need when you're running your own business, is someone to go running in and going, I can help you. And this is how we can turn that into 20 different bits of content. Because imagine if you could spend 1 hour a month doing something like this and then not have to create any more content for the rest of the month because somebody's turned it all into different pieces for you. And you've kind of got that reassurance that it is actually what I've said and it's in integrity with who I am, because they are not changing the messaging at all. They are purely just pulling out the key gold nuggets and putting them into a different format, whether that's a visual, an auditory, or even a copy, so that they can read it. You can even have it in your weekly emails. You can be pulling bits out. But as an entrepreneur, it can take us quite a lot of time to do that ourselves. So if you are able to outsource it, absolutely, like, let someone do all the hard work for you.
Yeah. And what I love about that is, like you're saying, maybe spend 1 day a month on your content, which is amazing. What I really love about that is that you've got time then to work on the things that are going to, A, uplift your life, and B, uplift the lives of your clients. So instead of you being stuck working on a Monday night getting your content sorted out or whatever, you're off with your kids and family, and then Tuesday morning you're back with your clients. Like, just from having that step of spending your dedicated time, which is 1 or 2 days a month, creating your content, from there you're free to do the things that you love.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Like, we didn't set up our business to spend the whole time working on our businesses. We spent it to improve our quality of life and to improve the quality of life of other people. We want to help people, and we want to make sure we spend time with our kids and our family doing the things that we love. So I have a membership, and as part of that I've set aside one day a month, and all of the ladies come on, we create content together, and that's done. And then that means you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the month, because you're like, it's done, I'm good now, I can go and do the things that I like doing. And I think that's really, really important.
Oh, that actually sounds super cute. I love that. So you all just like log in and then make content together.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
But it means you've got someone to bounce ideas around with as well, which is really important, because sitting behind a screen, sometimes you're like, where do I even start with this? Like, even if you sit there and you meditate and you think about your ideal client and you like, where do I feel pulled to do this? Turning that into a piece of content can still be really daunting. So having people there to go, hold on a minute, guys, what do you think about this? Or, oh, do you like this design? And things like that. They're like, oh yeah. And it works really well. So
yeah, I think that's really awesome. And it also does give you that community aspect as well, because a lot of the times when you're an entrepreneur, you might just be in your home office, chilling out by yourself with your cat.
Yeah.
What are you talking about now? Cat is right beside me. But yeah, like just from doing that one thing where one day you log on with your clients, that gives all of you that sense of community that you don't necessarily always get when you're an entrepreneur. So I literally love that initiative by you. Like, I just think that's amazing. Like, that's such a great.
I love the fact as well, there's a certain, obviously I attract those sort of intuitive people, those people who want to help other people. So they're all very much in similar sort of industries, but there's no friction there. There's no, oh, this is my competitor or anything like that. It's all like everybody genuinely wants the other people to win. They're like, you've had an amazing month, well done, you've smashed it. And it's like, yes, this is what it's about. And I had someone come to me probably about 6 months ago now, and she said, oh, you know, I've never found somewhere where I fit in because I'm a witch, and nobody like ever wants to talk to a witch because there's so much stigma about that. And I was like, you're welcome in our place, like everyone's welcome, like that's okay. And she was like, I really love it that, you know, I just fit in. I'm like, you do, everyone fits in, because that's the sort of community we are. And I think that's really important, isn't it, finding your people.
Yes, I literally love that. Like, that sounds amazing. I can't wait till like I'm really happy that we're chatting, but I can't wait till the end when you get to share all your details with everyone, because that sounds like such an amazing group. You know what I mean?
They're lovely.
Yeah, like that sounds really awesome. So if someone was going to get started in their marketing today, like brand new, they don't really know what to do, where would you suggest they even start?
Messaging. Start with your messaging. So work out, who are you? Who are you as a person? Who are you as a business person? What is your product or service that you offer? And what is the transformation that's going to give to the ideal client? Like, who is that ideal client, and where are they now and where are they going? Because I feel like with the biggest mistake people make is they start a business and they just start popping everything out there. But actually, until you've got really clear and got clarity on those things, on that messaging around all of that, there's no point doing any marketing, because essentially you could be attracting anyone and talking to anyone about anything and it's not going to land. So get your clarity first of all. What is your business? Who does it serve? What do you offer? How does it help? All of those things, and literally spend a whole day on it. Sit there with yourself. What feels right for you? Who are those people you want to work with? Really do as much journaling as you can around about it. I was going to grab some post-it notes. They're like literally all scribbled on, but I've got post-it notes like everywhere. Like, put it all down, write all the words that you love that resonate with you, and start to work on that. And when you feel like, yeah, okay, I've got that, then you can go on to the next stage, which effectively is like deciding, what sort of marketing do I want to do? How am I going to create a strategy that, like you said, allows you to live the life you love, not working too many hours, but still attracting those clients? And you don't have to do everything. You just have to be consistent with what you do. And then once you've got that, you're set, you're off. You can go, you can start marketing yourself, putting yourself out there. And that's when you'll start seeing those clients coming in, which is really exciting and making a difference.
Yeah, it's amazing. So it is really important to really have a strong understanding of who that ideal client is before you start, isn't it? We haven't really touched on that.
Yeah, that's massive when it comes to marketing, knowing who your ideal client is. Because as much as people worry sometimes, like if I'm thinking about this one person, how will I engage anybody else? How will I ever get other clients? Well, the whole point is, if you know your ideal client inside out, if you know who they are, where they live, what they do, how they feel, what their home setup is, and what their favorite thing to eat is, all of those things, and you're able to use that in your messaging, that's going to resonate. There's a reason why people, for example, in the UK, I don't know if it's the same about you, people go to McDonald's, because McDonald's is the brand leader, because they literally tap into people's emotions with their advertising and their marketing, and they talk to people, they show videos of like these families and having a happy time going there. So that's why people resonate with them, because that's what their messaging is, compared to somebody else. And you've kind of got to look at your ideal client and go, what sort of messaging is going to attract them? If you're thinking it's going to turn someone who's like this off, well, they're probably not your ideal client. And the biggest thing is, if you can get your messaging to attract that ideal client, because you know them and they feel like, yeah, she's talking to me, she's in my head, there'll be loads of those ideal clients out there thinking exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So I did a live this morning. One of my ladies, Lisa Jane, came on and she was like, Jade, you are talking to me. I'm like, I know I am. That's why I'm having this video, because I know you need to hear this. And that's what you guys want as well. You want to know your clients, your ideal clients, so well that they're saying to you, get out my head. How do you know I'm thinking that? And you're like, yes, I've done it. And now it's a no-brainer for them to come and work with me.
Yes, I love that. I literally love that. And I do think, that it is so important to have an idea of who that person is, so you can speak just to them. It's better to have a targeted message to a niched audience than to be too broad that people just completely miss you, I think.
Yeah, massively. Because if you just go out there and you say, hey guys, this is me, I can help anyone, everyone's going to be like, oh, that's great, good for you, and it's not going to resonate. So if you think of like a doctor, are you going to go to the general, like in the UK we have GPs, general practitioners, they know a little bit about everything? Or if you need something specialist treatment, are you going to go to the person that's qualified in that, they've got 5 years extra experience, they only see people who do that? You're going to go to that person because that person knows what they're talking about, they're doing it day in, day out. So an example, when I started out, I said to everybody, hey, I've qualified as a therapist, I'm an anxiety therapist, I help women to overcome anxiety that they're feeling. And all of a sudden it was like all these people coming out the woodwork going, oh yeah, actually I'm a woman, I'm suffering with anxiety. And quite quickly it picked up with clients, because people were able to self-identify with what I was talking about. So yeah, it's really important that you kind of don't get scared about niching, and make sure you do know, yeah, this is who I want to work with, and I'm going to tell everyone loud and proud this is who I'm working with, because that's what's going to attract them, getting that messaging, talking to them and getting in their heads.
Yeah. No, I totally love that. That is amazing. And would you happen to have 3 top tips for a soul-led entrepreneur who wants to, 3 top tips for marketing for soul-led entrepreneurs?
Yeah. So number 1 is, don't listen to all the other coaches. Don't try and do everything. Don't do it. It's going to burn you out. It's not going to feel aligned with you, and it's not going to attract those ideal clients. So sit with what feels right for you and do that. Do one thing well. So don't try and do everything. Do one thing well. Second thing is, be consistent. So make sure that whether people are seeing you on your website or your social media platforms or your live or whatever, you're always talking about the same message. You're being consistent with that message, so they know you are the person to come to. And your visuals need to be consistent with that as well. So if your website is blue and yellow, then your social media should be blue and yellow. If you can kind of make sure that wherever people see you, they hear and see the same things, that consistency and continuity in your branding is really going to help. And the third thing, in your marketing, always use a call to action. Yeah. So like we said, just make sure you are going to be leaving money on the table. You're going to stop people from buying from you if you don't offer the opportunity to work with you. So make sure you use a call to action, like if you want if you want to buy it, click the link below, or let me know your thoughts in the comment, and then have a conversation with them. Is there a way that you can upsell them in the comments? So always think about ways that you can communicate, because whether you're communicating to build like, no, trust, or communicating to go to a sale, that's going to help you to build that whole community and ultimately get your message out there more. So yeah.
I love those. Thank you so much. And I love consistency. I think is such a big part of being a content creator in general. If that's the way you're getting out there, that consistency is totally key. Last question. If you were starting again from the very beginning, what is one resource that you would recommend for someone who wants to be a soul-led entrepreneur?
Oh, that's a really good one. Do you know what? In all honesty, one of the things that I would probably say that you're going to need as a soul-led entrepreneur is your cards. So I have my cards that every single morning I'm looking at before I do anything on social media, before I'm doing anything with my clients. I always pull myself some cards to have a look at kind of what's going to be happening in the day, how I'm feeling about stuff, because that's what kind of helps me with those intuitive moments, I think, when it's like, actually, the cards are telling me right now I need to take a step back from social media, or the cards are telling me right now that I should be sharing this message that I'm feeling inside on social media. So if you want to do it in a way that feels aligned with you, and you're into using cards and reading for yourself in the mornings, use that in your business as well as just for yourself. I'd say that for me is something I wish I'd done in the beginning. It took me about 2 years to kind of realize that was where I was kind of going wrong.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. That is super, super cool. I actually just got a new deck of cards delivered today, so I can totally relate to that. I'm super about them. So I can totally relate to that. And that's a really, really cool way to start your day. Just a little thing where you're just like, yep. And it brings you joy and gives you that feeling, more of a feeling of alignment. So I literally love that.
Yeah, I always have them on my desk. And obviously I'm a service-based entrepreneur, and I find that I'll have those clients now and I'll be like, oh, do you mind if I read your card? They're like, no, do it. Because, you know, they're the sort of people that I'm drawn to. And I feel like you always have to have them. I always have to have them on my desk, have to have my cards, have to have my crystals there. Need to be there.
Yes, I'm the same actually. But it has been so fun to talk to you. I've literally loved it. I know you've mentioned you've got a book coming out. I would love to hear how people can connect with you, and I would love to hear about the book as well. So
thank you. I've loved it too. It's been great. I love your energy. So I know that your listeners are like feeding off this amazing vibe and energy that you put out there. So thank you. On Facebook, I'm Jade Anne Coaching, and on Instagram as well. So do come and say hello, and let me know you've heard this. And I've got a book coming out on the 5th of November. So I think it'll be out by the time you guys are listening to this. So you can order it on Amazon. It's called Empower the Cheerleader Within. So I'm a marketing and mindset coach. And the reason the two work together is because I find a lot of people, they want to market their business, but actually it starts with the mindset first. And as much as you might maybe be a therapist yourself or feel like you do a lot of mindset work, there's probably limiting beliefs that are holding you back from going live or being visible on social media, whatever they are. So my thing is all about helping people to get out of their own way so that they can market themselves. So Empower the Cheerleader Within is turning that inner critic, changing those limiting beliefs so you become your biggest cheerleader. Because when you do, you're unstoppable. You get your message out there, and that's how we're going to change the world. We're all going to go out there. We're going to share the love. We're going to change people's perceptions and just make the world a better place. So, yeah.
That sounds absolutely amazing. I literally can't wait to read it. I'm super pumped about that. So will people be able to see that on your socials and on the website and be able to like clearly find a way to purchase that book?
Yeah. So if you head to Amazon, you can type in Jade Anne and it will come up, or Empower the Cheerleader Within. But it will be all over my socials. Obviously, I'll be marketing it here and there and everywhere. So it'll be on Facebook and Instagram, on my website as well. So yeah.
Amazing. I love this. And this has been the funnest chat. I really, really enjoyed it. I know you guys as an audience will have loved it too. So thank you so much, Jade. It's been really, really great.